What's up, my dogs and my peeps? Welcome back to another tier list maker video. As you could tell, I'm pretty excited to do this because last time I waited until the very end of the year of 2024 to do something like this to kind of get all the movies I watched in one year all in one video. But I really enjoyed making that video and the fact that you guys liked it too, judging by all the views and likes I got on the video. You guys seem to really like them, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait until June. That's the halfway mark in the year, and I'm just going to do the first half of the year. All the movies I watched in the first half of the year ranked. It's not a whole lot. It's only 10 movies, but I still feel like this is gonna be fun. Try to keep in mind that not all of these movies are from of this year. These are just movies that I've watched. This could be a year ago, 2 years ago, movies that were made 10 years ago. Who knows? My range goes very far. So, the first movie we have is Nosferatu, the remake, the 2024 remake. I was really excited for this movie. I saw the trailers and I thought the trailers were really well done. Um, Usually, I'm not super crazy about remakes, of course. I just have a foul taste, especially fucking Disney movies, Disney live action remakes. I've grown sick of them. But when I heard that they were remaking Nosferatu, I knew that this was a silent film. And so I was like, you know what? This movie does need a modern remake because it was a silent film. And then there was another remake, which is still a very fucking dated movie. So I was pretty excited. And I watched it and I thought it was a little overrated. A lot of people were, saying it's the best fucking movie ever. You know, I just feel like those people focused on the acting. The acting, of course, is flawless. Bill Skarsgård. I'm a huge fan of Bill Skarsgård. He did a good job as Nosferatu. Lily Rose Depp did great too. But for me, acting doesn't really make the movie for me. It's about, especially if it's a horror movie, I expect it to be scary. Nosferatu 2024 didn't really scare me that much. I still thought it was a cool movie. At the end of the day, it is a cool movie with cool visuals, great acting, of course, but like as a horror movie, it wasn't that scary. I was pretty underwhelmed with the horror. There was a few spooky scenes that were new, like for example, when Nosferatu was traveling through the boat, and there was that little scene where the guy checked the bunker or whatever, and Nosferatu killed him. Like that was a cool scene. That was actually pretty scary. It was a little tense. And then the part of the movie where Nosferatu actually is in the city, he's lurking around. Like this is new territory. And there's a scene where it's Lily Rose Depp's character. She hears something. Oh no, it's not Lily Rose Depp's character. It's some other woman character, and she hears something on the stairs, and like the camera slowly pans to the stairs, and like I was like really scared at this moment, but then the camera just panned back, and then Lily Rose Depp's character was behind her, and it was a fake out. It was like, oh, I didn't see you there. Like come on. I was disappointed with the horror in this one. However, it's still a cool movie. It's just this movie kind of comes across as artsy fartsy to me, and I'm not an artsy fartsy person at all. But I still think this was good. I'm already getting sick, man. I watched the Annabelle movies. This one is Annabelle Comes Home. I watched the first Annabelle a few years ago. Oh no, last year. I watched the first Annabelle last year, and I liked it. I thought it was okay. It's your typical Hollywood horror movie, so it has, these Annabelle movies have cheap jump scares, but I watched them anyway just because I was bored. Annabelle Comes Home, I thought was all right. I think the story was cool. You have these orphans going into this family home, and this guy, the father, lost his daughter from a car accident. And now her spirit haunts the Annabelle doll. And of course, in this house they have the Annabelle doll, and now there's a bunch of kids, and the kids get Snoopy, and then now the Annabelle doll is released. It was locked in this room, but of course a kid had to go snooping around. The movie goes from there. There were a couple scenes that are scary. Any time in these Annabelle movies that the black demon shows up, I get really fucking scared. And that black demon is like my favorite part of the movie. In the first Annabelle movie, there was actually a really cool and creepy scene with the black demon that I thought was really well done and was kind of the highlight of the movie. So the black demon is of course scarier than the doll. I'm not too scared of dolls anymore. I know a lot of people, they see one image of a doll and they get fucking, they shit their bridges. But I'm not too scared of dolls. So this movie will be in mid/mid. Next, this is oh, wait a minute. I don't know what I said here for this one. That was Annabelle Creation. This next one is Annabelle Comes Home. Yeah. Okay. Annabelle Comes Home. Did not really like this one. This was the final installment of the Annabelle series. And this one I didn't really like. I didn't think it was even remotely as scary as the other Annabelle movies. And trust me, they weren't overall that fucking scary. Like I said, only a few parts, but this one really wasn't that scary, and this movie just took place in a house, just like a little house. With most horror movies, like the best ones you can think of, they all took place in like two-story houses. You think of The Shining, it took place in a huge hotel. And this movie is just a little house. The setting isn't really as cool as Creation, and the story, yeah, it's just really not as good. It's basically the parents leave the daughters home alone, and the Annabelle doll gets unleashed. It's not very clever. Yeah, it just wasn't that scary. I actually don't remember a whole lot. I'm sorry if my explanations are kind of crap. I'm doing my best. Okay, next up, not a horror movie, Prisoners. Not to be confused with the Miley Cyrus song called Prisoners, the movie Prisoners. This was recommended by a friend. A lot of people were saying that this was an underrated movie, and I had just gotten HBO Max, and so I wanted to check this movie out, and I was not disappointed. This bad boy is going to amazing. This is definitely one of my favorite movies just because of how serious it is, and it's one of those movies that just gets right to the fucking point. This movie doesn't pander. It doesn't do, a whole bunch of silly shit. Like it to me, like this movie just gets straight to the point, and I love it. There's a lot of other things I love about the movie, but like I feel like one of the main things is that it's how serious it was, and there wasn't a whole lot of like music in the movie too, and that sounds like a bad thing, but sometimes for movies like this, it doesn't. Like the lack of music and lack of sound effects, it really helps. The scene they just let the scenes play out, and it's very tense. So the plot of this movie, I think, is pretty damn unique, especially how they execute it. It's about these two different families. They're like neighbors. They're family friends, two different families, and they both lose one of their kids to kidnapping. Someone kidnaps these kids, they lose sight of the kids for like 3 minutes, and they get kidnapped. And the whole movie is basically the father of one of these families. He goes a bit too far with trying to find answers. He eventually finds out someone who may or may not be related or involved with the kidnapping. It's this guy. Funnily enough, he is played by Paul Dano, who is the Riddler from the Batman. I just thought that was very fitting. So this father thinks it's him, and he kidnaps him, and he's trying to get answers, but it's tough because this Paul Dano's character, he's got like an IQ of like a 6-year-old. Like he doesn't understand anything what's going on. He's giving very vague and confusing answers. Um, and one of the best parts about this movie is the acting. The acting really helps support this movie. The guy who plays Detective Loki, I think it's like Jake Alligator or something. He that actor, I love him. He's in a lot of cool stuff. He's in a movie called End of Watch, which I really love. Of course, Hugh Jackman is absolutely incredible in this movie. He is, of course, Wolverine, but like you feel his anger in the movie when he's screaming,
Where's my daughter? Where's my daughter?
feel his anger. Like his acting is really good, and Paul Dano's good too. He's a great actor in this one. But I just thought this movie was great from start to finish. It's very intense. If you want something thriller, like true crime kind of related thing, this is definitely your movie. This is definitely one of my favorite movies this year. Next, another horror movie, Smile Dos. So I watched the first Smile few years back when it came out. We watched it on a streaming service, me and some buddies, and we really enjoyed it. I particularly liked it because it was different. It wasn't so much in your face horror. This the Smile movies are more so trying to make the main character feel insane and slowly chip away at their lives, like manipulating and sabotaging their lives, ruining everyone's relationships. Like that's what the Smile Demon does. So we really liked the first one. The second one I watched and I thought it was good. I initially wasn't too hyped because I didn't really think Smile needed a sequel, and I saw the trailer and I thought the trailer looked kind of generic, just like the trailer just showed people smiling at you, and I was like, okay, the smiling is getting a little old, even though it's called Smile, but you know what I mean. Like I didn't really think it needed a sequel, but I watched it, and there were definitely certain scenes that really disturbed me. Um, I did like that for the story they chose a singer because as a singer, you do have a lot to lose. This girl, the protagonist, she's got a lot of fans. She's a super popular hip hop pop singer. And of course, the Smile Demon uses that against her at some point and makes her look bad. They make her hallucinate things. Sometimes the hallucinations do go a little overboard, because there's a twist, like a little towards the end of the movie that like this person that our main character was talking to the whole time wasn't real. And it's like, okay, I get it. The Smile Demon can make you hallucinate, but to hallucinate the whole movie, like it's a little far-fetched, it's a little ridiculous, but that's just what the Smile Demon does. And this movie does end on another cliffhanger. It's another bad ending, but it's good. And so there's definitely going to be a Smile 3 by how this one ended. Um, so yeah, I thought this was good. All right, now we're kind of going into crap territory. Moana 2. It's a pretty random movie. Most of these movies were thriller and horror because I really like horror movies. But then one night, I just decided to watch Moana 2. I watched the first Moana a long time ago, and I really loved it. I feel like Moana was one of the last good Disney movies, and I would watch it on TV, back when cable TV was still a thing. I'd watch it on TV a whole lot. And it's just a really fun movie. I really love the songs in the first one too. Just Moana is a really classic Disney movie. So when I heard that they were making a second one, I was actually pretty excited. I think it deserved a sequel. And I watched it, and I wanted to go to bed after watching it because the movie is just not that good. It's really not that good. I don't think the story was as good either. The story is basically the ancestors call out to Moana to like rejoice a couple islands, right? I'm sorry. It's been a while since I watched it. It doesn't make a whole lot of it's not super captivating as the first one. Maui really isn't in this one a whole lot. You see him at the beginning, like at the very beginning of the movie, and then Moana kind of takes charge for the next like 60% of the movie. And then you see Maui, and then by the time you see him, like the movie's kind of over with. It's like in the first one, Maui had a much more a more impactful presence in the movie. He had a lot to do, and you find out a lot about him and his past, and what his parents did to him, and it's very interesting. But in this one, he's just not really there. And again, there's no clear villain presence in this movie either. Like, you hear about this evil, demigod, and you only see him at the end credits. Like, when I saw the end credits, I was like, "Oh my God, this is the movie right here." Like, that end credit scene made me more interested than the whole hour and however long, 40 minutes this movie was. It was very disappointing. It's like you have this cool, corrupt, demigod, and the potential of like Maui having an epic fight with this guy. It was just ruined. And you could tell. I mean, I found out after I watched the movie that they were originally going to do a Moana TV, like a show on Disney Plus, but they scrapped it and decided to make a movie, which makes sense because there's a lot of rushed things in the movie. There's lots of characters that just kind of pop up and the movie expects you to care about, but you just don't. Like, there's lots of side characters that come along on Moana's journey, and like one of them I found funny-ish, but like not interesting enough, like not Maui level like interesting. So this is definitely one of my least favorite movies so far this year, and I'm sorry, that is very disappointing. Also, the only things that I kind of liked in the movie were some of the songs. Some. I think there's maybe like 5 songs in the movie. Maybe like 2 of them I bopped my head to. I think one of the first songs that Moana sings is okay. The other song that this lady, yeah, she's a weird character. She's not that interesting, but she sings a song that's kind of catchy. And then that's pretty much it. Maui sings a song, but like it's not nearly as good as You're Welcome. And then again, the end credits, like they throw in Tamatoa at the end, the crab, and it's like, why? Like, did we really need to see him? Like, this movie throws a lot of fan service at you. Like, there's a lot of moments throughout this movie that I was watching, and I was like, man, I feel like I'm watching a Star Wars show by how like cameo filled and like fan service they're throwing at us. Cause like, in the first one, Hey Hey the chicken, like he's got some funny moments, but like in this one, they just recycle what made the first one so funny. Like there's scenes where the chicken like, screams, and it's funny the first time, but then in this movie they keep fucking doing it and it's not funny. There's a scene in the first one where Moana is like teaching some kids how to do some kind of like Hawaiian dance, and like there's this kid like flirting with him and it's pretty funny. It's just like it's a 10-second scene. But then in this one, they throw this kid in again, and then they make it a whole like minute-long scene, and it's just like, dude, like it's not funny. We get it. Like you need to be original with your sequels. You can't just keep going, "Hey, remember this? Remember this funny thing from the first one? We're gonna start it again. It's just gonna be the same thing. The kids are gonna love it. The chicken, the chicken when the chicken went, and then the kid flirts with Moana when he winks at her. It's really funny. No, it's not funny. It's funny the first time. It's not funny the second time. Really bad Moana. Very disappointed. Next up, Talk to Me. This movie came out like 3 fucking years ago, and I've been meaning to watch it, but I didn't have the correct streaming services. But it finally got on Netflix, and I watched it, and I thought it was good. It's up there with Smile too. I was a little skeptical, I'd say, the first 50 minutes of this movie, because to me it felt like a Goosebumps, like I was watching a Goosebumps episode. The plot of this movie is basically a group of kids, group of rambunctious teenagers. They come across this statue, as you can see from the movie poster, as a hand, and you're supposed to shake it and say, "Talk to me." And once you do that, you see, you hallucinate someone dead who was close to you. But if you stay in this trance for more than like a minute, then like the spirit gets a hold of you or whatever, and bad things happen. So it's these kids kind of use it as a just like as a drug. It's hard. It sounds weird when I say it, but like I swear, like the first hour of this movie is just these kids. Like you would think that like they'd be like, "Hey yo, you got the weed, you got the booth," like rambunctious teenagers. But in this movie, it's like, "Hey, you got the talk to me statue? Hey yo, I'm trying to hallucinate my dead, grandmother, bro."
What did the hand feel like?
Felt amazing. I could see and feel everything on the other side.
Like it's just weird. It doesn't make sense. That's why I was saying it felt like a Goosebumps episode. So I was like, okay, this movie is kind of silly. But then the movie does take a pretty crazy turn because one of the younger kids uses it, and I forgot what specifically happens, but it goes wrong, and this kid ends up staying longer than he needs to, and then he's like he starts bashing his head into the wall, and the movie just kind of goes from there. It's a lot of crazy stuff that happens, a lot of good stuff. There's like a 15-second scene. It's like a depiction of hell almost, and like that scene I thought was really well done. It was really creepy, and overall I thought this was a good movie. I hear a lot of mixed things. A lot of people think this was great. A lot of people thought it was stupid. I thought it was good. It was a good horror movie. Oh boy, another live action Disney remake, or not necessarily a remake, but it is part of the crappy Lion King live action remake trilogy. This one was Mufasa. I remember when these trailers were coming out for this movie, I was actually honestly kind of interested because I know it's making me sick. Of course, as a kid, I watched the animated Lion King movie, absolutely loved it. And then I remember I watched a movie called Simba's Pride, which was a sequel. It was about Scar's wife, I think, and Scar's son. And then I guess there was some other movie, and it kind of delved into Scar's backstory, which I wasn't too interested as a kid. But when I heard that they were making a movie about Mufasa, I was a little interested, mostly because of Scar. I always love seeing like villains' backstories and how they came to be, not to necessarily justify their actions, of course, but it's fun seeing villains become villains, how they become them. And so this movie was about baby Mufasa. He had parents, but some river came along and swooped Mufasa away, and he stumbled upon Scar's tribe. Fun fact, Scar's real name is actually Taka. He actually earns that name towards the end of the movie. Mufasa and Scar kind of become brothers. But then this other wolf pack, it's the White Lion. He is voiced by Mads Mikkelsen, which I love that dude. He is such a good actor. But his talent is of course wasted in this. His villain character is not very interesting. He's just kind of a generic bad guy. But these wolves come and kind of fuck everything up, and they're hunting Mufasa down because at one point during the movie, Mufasa kills one of the White Lion's like members in self-defense, and so the White Lion hears about this and he's like, "Crap." And so the rest of the movie is just kind of it's just Scar and Mufasa and what's her name? The wife from Lion King, so Sarabi. It's just them running away from them. A lot of things that are explained in this movie, like how Pride Rock became Pride Rock, how Rafiki got his stick, but it's like those things aren't very interesting. I don't really think this movie needed to be made. Again, like the whole stuff with Scar, I thought was okay. There was a scene towards the end of the movie where Scar kind of becomes, he does what he does best. He sneaks off to find the white lions that are hunting them and kind of makes a deal. I'll lead you to them as long as you let me live. But it's kind of confusing because he kinda you don't know if he has some sort of other agenda, if he wants to betray the White Lion group, but Mufasa, of course, eventually finds that out, and I'm gonna call you Scar from now on. It's a little weird. Some of the yeah, like I said, some of the Scar stuff was interesting, but man, I'd say the last 40 minutes of this movie I was actually thoroughly entertained by, but the rest of the movie I thought was very boring. The story was boring. A lot of the characters weren't that great. The movie kept cutting to what's his name? The Pumbaa and the oh my God, I'm so sorry. I forgot the names, but it's the Pumbaa and the Mercat, the Hakuna Matata guys. It keeps cutting to them because it's them telling the story, by the way. I forgot to mention that. And also the songs that they played, like the music, like it really wasn't that good. You know, what made the Lion King live action kind of tolerable was that the songs were, of course, good. You know, of course, they did some tweaks and they removed certain a certain badass villain song, which I cannot fucking get over. But what made that tolerable was the songs. But it doesn't mean much when you are basing this movie off the same formula as the animated version. It's like, how can you fuck up this song? Which they kind of do at some points. But the songs in this one were really not that good. I think there was maybe one that I thought was alright. Mads Mikkelsen tries to sing in this movie, and it just does not work for me. They try to put in a bad guy song, and it's the most least intimidating villain song ever. Like, it's just him saying bye bye. It's so weird. It does not work for me. So, it's it's bad. I actually think Mufasa is better than Moana 2, and that's saying something. I know some people might think Moana 2 is better, but because Moana 2 actually kind of pissed me off. Mufasa didn't really piss me off. I just thought it was a boring movie. The songs weren't good, and it's just kind of a waste of time. But Moana 2 was actually, in my opinion, a bad movie. Speaking of bad movies, the Minecraft movie. This is the first movie on this list that came out this year. I'm so sorry. Most movies this year don't look that good in my opinion. That's why there's not a lot of 2025 movies on this list. The Minecraft movie. When I saw the trailers, I was incredibly disappointed. My whole thing was they should have made a Minecraft movie like 8 years ago when Minecraft was like actually popular because I remember there was a point from like 2012 to 2000 like I'd say 16 that Minecraft was the shit. Like everyone had their phase, everyone had their GTA and Call of Duty phase, but like my phase was fucking Minecraft. Like I was the king of Minecraft in my family. Like I knew everything. I'd I'd wake up at fucking 6 a.m. and just go on the laptop and play Minecraft. And so if a Minecraft movie came out during that time, that would make more sense. And especially because there were Minecraft parodies all over YouTube, and those parodies had great animation. Some greater than others, of course, but most of the animation for these Minecraft parodies were great. And I was like, man, I wish they would make a Minecraft movie. It never came out. And now that I'm over 20 years old and I'm not super into Minecraft anymore, now they make a movie. So I was like, "Oh, this is definitely gonna be a cash grab." Like, would have made way more sense to make a Minecraft movie, like, a decade ago, but I guess Hollywood's just bored. And when I saw the trailer, I knew it. I knew it. I knew what I felt about the movie. The whole movie is fucking green screen. Jack Black is Steve. You have Jason Momoa looking weird, like the dressing, like costume design in the movie just did not look great. And it looked really fucking bad, and I did not wanna go see it, but we ended up going to see it as a joke, and don't get me wrong, we had a fun time watching it, but having a fun time watching a movie does not necessarily mean the movie is good. It was not. Jason Momoa's character is probably the best in the movie. He goes through the most development, if you can call it that. It's very it's like elementary school level, like, writing and development. Jason Momoa's character kinda reminds me of Johnny from Cobra Kai, except less interesting, less development, less emotional weight, less comedy, but his character kinda reminds me of Johnny because he's just kind of he's stuck in his own little world, he's stuck in the old days, he can't get over, you know, the 90s. He holds himself up on a pedestal. It kinda reminded me of Johnny, but of like I said, less interesting. Jack Black, he did okay in the movie. It's just I would have preferred literally anyone else. And then you have Emma Myers, and then this other big black chick that they didn't really do anything. I hear a lot of controversy that the movie is sexist and that the women didn't do shit in the movie, but I think, don't get me wrong, I don't think this is a good movie, but I think that complaint is stupid. I think people are reaching because there's literally a scene in the village where the women are fighting. So I don't get where everyone is saying like, "Oh, the women didn't do anything." It's like Emma Myers was kind of involved. She had a purpose in the movie. The the black chick, however, I thought she was pretty much the most useless character. But I don't think any of that had to do with sexism. I think those complaints are silly. Of course, Chicken's jockey scene is, legendary. Everyone loves it. I do not like that people were trashing theaters. I think that's incredibly disrespectful and immature. A lot of people are like, "Oh, it's the fun police," but it's like, it's one thing clapping during a movie, but making a huge mess for the staff is very immature and very frustrating. Um, so that movie's gonna go to really bad. But if this was in terms of having fun, this would be quite amazing. But no. And the main villain of the movie is not that intimidating. It's just this weird old lady, um, zombie pigman. She just her whole thing is she was kinda robbed of having creativity as a kid, and now she wants everyone to not be creative. It's stupid. The movie's funny, it's a fun watch. However, if you end up watching it by yourself, like, you're not gonna have a good time. Like, you need to be drunk, you need to be out with friends. Not that I was drunk watching this movie, but you need a lot of things to help cope with this movie. The movie itself is really bad. It was really fun, but it is not a good movie. If you're looking for great character development and an amazing story, it's not gonna be your movie. And of course, the green screen, I kinda got used to the green screen throughout the movie, but, like, I still would have preferred an animated movie. That's just my biggest thing. This is a weird one. I don't know why the fuck I watched this, but I needed to watch a movie that came out this year because I don't all of these movies came out either a year ago or 10 years ago, 3 years ago. The Rule of Jenny Penn. I'm sorry, you can't really see it well, but it's there. It's called The Rule of Jenny Penn. Story of this one was this old, this elderly judge. He has a stroke during one of his, judge sessions, a court session. He has a stroke and now he's wheelchair bound and he goes into this old folks home and there's like this there's like this school bully. It's this guy in the poster right here. He has this little doll named Jenny Penn and he's just he owns the place. He's the school bully. He goes up to you in the middle of the night and makes you lick Jenny Penn's uh eh, as quoted in the movie, asshole, and he's just so weird to everyone. He abuses everyone. He gets them in trouble, and so our main character is just throughout the movie, he's just trying to deal with it. and trying to fight back, but everyone else is too scared, either too scared or they're too weak. This this movie was so weird, but honestly, I'm gonna be honest, like it worked for me because another one cool thing I liked about this movie was that it was filmed very uniquely. Like there were certain shots in the movie that like actually really creeped me out. But it's just the story is just so weird and the movie isn't really scary. It's more so a thriller. I don't know why it's advertised as horror because like I said, there's certain shots that are creepy. Like for example, there's a shot of our main character just sleeping in bed and then he looks at the door and the old dude, with the doll, he's just standing there and it's creepy. But like that's kind of it. The rest of the movie is just kind of it's just kind of a thriller if you can even call it that. It's a weird movie, but it worked for me. I thought it was pretty unique. The bad guy is, of course, a very he's fun to watch. He's very weird. I don't know why they chose just a regular doll to be like his thing. I don't know. I felt like I was watching like an Arkham Asylum like webisode, except not as interesting. Um, so the rule of Jenny Penn is going to be at met/mid. And then the last movie on our list, the one that I watched most recently because I was bored and I've been meaning to watch this movie, Knives Out. This one came out during what I like to call the Ryan Johnson era. This came out kind of around when The Last Jedi came out, and we all know how that went. Everyone's hating on Ryan Johnson, but I was interested because a lot of people were saying, "Well, no, Ryan Johnson isn't a bad director. He made Knives Out." And so I was like, "Oh, Knives Out must be good." And I kind of saw this movie as like a murder mystery where like everyone's in the house and like someone gets murdered and everyone's trying to like not be suspicious. You're trying to figure out who's the killer. Lots of twists and turns throughout the movie. That's what I thought this movie was going to be. And after watching it, that's what the movie should have been because what this movie was more so, I kind of got it right. Of course, there was a murder at the very beginning of the movie, but then the next like 20-30 minutes of the movie is just a detective interviewing everyone. It takes a while. Then, once that's kind of done, then you see exactly how the person died and you know who is somewhat responsible for killing him. This it's this the Mexican maid. It sounds silly, but she ends up accidentally swapping the dude's medications and she's like, "Oh my God, you have 10 minutes left to live. We're fucked." She's trying to call the cops, but the old dude's like, "No, just let me die." The old dude's weird. I don't know. I don't get his character. He just kind of he's a silly old man, but like he just wants to die for some reason. It's not really fully explained. So he just kind of concocts this elaborate thing to make her, not suspicious and not be a suspect. So she does all this weird stuff. She drives away and then comes back and like hides evidence. Just an elaborate plan. It's just kind of silly how he thinks of this plan in such a dire moment. It's weird. It doesn't make sense. So yeah, you find out what happened like halfway through the movie, and then the rest of the movie is just the Mexican maid just trying to not be suspicious and not give away that she was responsible for his death. And but then there is a twist at the end of what actually happened. It's a whole thing. I don't even want to explain it. It's just one of the other family members was actually responsible for his death. The movie's just not what I thought. It wasn't as like nerve-wracking as I wanted it to be. I kind of constantly wanted to be on the edge of my seat with like mystery and dread, like, oh, who killed him? What's going on? How's this gonna wrap up? But like they show you what actually happened throughout the like halfway through the movie, and then the rest of the movie is just her trying to deal with that. Like, and with the title called Knives Out too, like I thought the setting would have been like everyone in the house like trying to figure out what happened. I don't know if I don't know if that sounds weird, if my expectations are silly, but to me, I don't think it's that far-fetched. I thought this was going to be a murder mystery, but again, they ended up killing the mystery halfway through the movie, and the movie just kind of became something else. So I was not a fan of Knives Out, unfortunately. And now Ryan Johnson officially has a bad taste in my mouth. All right, well, that is my list, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed this. I of course, always have fun doing these tier list makers. Let me know if you want more, or just give it a like, or share to a friend. And let me know if what your guys' rankings are for any movies that you guys have watched this year. Of course, it doesn't have to be strictly movies that came out this year. It can be movies from a long time ago, last year. Most of these movies only came out a few years ago, which is nice because I don't want to review old ass movies because then that's just kind of weird. I will get back to this list at the end of the year when I've watched another 6 months worth of movies. There's definitely some upcoming movies I'm excited for. I'm excited for this John Wick spin-off movie called Ballerina. That looks really good. We have Karate Kid Legends, even though I've been hearing that that movie is pretty fucking mid. So I don't know, maybe I'll still watch it. I just don't know if I'll rush out to go see it. We have a Stephen King movie coming out in like September called The Long Walk that looks interesting. And I know there's a trailer came out recently for Black Phone 2 that looks pretty interesting. I forgot if it said it that's coming this year or next year or whatever, but yeah, there will definitely be some more movies. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you guys for watching.